Right, well, the first, ooh, I don't know how much, 9 kilometers of this is taken on the new camera. It's played at double speed, so the quality is not going to be the best, but it should be a lot better. But the problem is, about 1 kilometer from the end, the battery died. And the trouble with that is that I couldn't recharge it obviously on the ride, and I had to just abandon it. So I've imported the last kilometer from the previous video, which means that just towards the end the quality will obviously drop. Now you could argue that I could just go and ride again. I don't ride up here very often. That's not my favourite ride. And this was at 5 o'clock in the morning, but too many cars for my liking. Now you may remember I said I was going to get a drone. Well, I did. And this is the quality of photograph it took. So I won't be bothering with that. I mean, it's okay, I suppose, not for the photographs, but to have the drone, I could probably fix another little mini camera to it, but didn't think it was worth it. I mean, judge for yourself. And this is the sort of quality I was hoping it was going to be. So the drone, well, I didn't so much throw it in a bin just because of that, but there were a few other problems with it as well. The main one being that it's supposed to have obstacle avoidance, which means it won't crash. And I forgot to turn. Well, I didn't forget to turn it on. I didn't know you had to turn it on. I assumed it just will be part of the, normal functionality. And it crashed into a bush, and then it was okay. And then I went to the instructions, and I just thought, what did I do wrong? And it said, oh, you have to turn it on. So I did turn it on. And then I thought, okay, fine, it's not going to crash now. But it did. Into the same bush. It was still okay. So I was kind of getting the hang of it. And the battery went. And it just crashed down from about 20 meters onto the concrete. And after that, it was practically useless. Again, it may possibly still have worked. But if you go back and look at the photographs again, or you don't need to go back and look at them, just saw them. It's not worth it. It was only cheap, so went in the bin. Anyway, this part of the ride here is actually one of the steepest parts. And you ride this bit, and you've only done sort of 500 meters, and you've still got sort of 10 kilometers to go. Right, now coming up on the right, there's a little road, and that goes into a tiny little village. And then the roads up, or not really roads, I should say, there are trails up into the mountains. Not really ridden those for a while. There is actually one video called Koshmar Forest Climb, and that's basically where it is. And again, I don't ride there very often, but I don't ride the Medeo very often. Most of my riding, 90% of my riding is to work and back home from work, which is more than enough. Now also coming up, and I don't know how well you'll see it, but they're doing a lot of construction on the right. And to be fair, they are going to be pretty nice buildings, not too high, a couple of 2-3 floors I think, and luxury apartments, maybe private houses. Not going to say that's bad, but you know, building. There are places you want people to build and places you don't really want people to build, and I guess we all have our own opinions about it. But you can certainly see it. It seemed then for a second like I turned my camera to the right. I know I didn't, because I would have come off still. But no, these are going to be really nice buildings, and would say out of my price. Well, I wouldn't say would say out of my price range. I know they're going to be out of my price range, but I'm not interested in moving anyway. There'll be a lot of people who want to live in these, and I'm sure they'll probably sell them all quite quickly. Right, you notice I just skipped there. I found out they're called jump cuts, not jump edits. And that was okay, just I featured the other part in another video. I actually featured this part in another video too, but not with a very good camera. No, I'm going to do a couple of jump cuts because this is quite a long ride. I know no one's going to watch a 40-minute video. At the moment it's 40 minutes. When I publish it, upload it to YouTube, probably if I can, I get it down under 35. But again, this is the definitive Almaty ride, and this is 5 o'clock in the morning, which is why you don't see other riders shooting past me. If I ride any time after 6:30, then generally I get overtaken by about 40 people. Do I ever overtake anybody? Well, most people who ride to Medeo are on racing bikes. I've seen a couple of people on mountain bikes. Generally, yes, probably have passed one or two in my life, but of the, I think, 9 times I've ridden to Medeo, I think I've only ever overtaken a handful of people and been passed by most others. And I don't get too depressed about it because, you know, like I say, they're on racing bikes, probably half my age. Some of them are club or semi-professional riders, and occasionally there are actual literal professional riders too. I'm sure I once tried to keep up with one, and you can imagine what happened. I think I kept up with him for 50 metres, and after that I practically had to stop. Well, yeah, okay, fine, but 20 years racing bike to mountain bike, you know, if you put us on equal machinery and take me back to my peak, my late 20s, and I could have kept up with him for a couple of 100 metres, no more. Of course, no, he would have been better than me, absolutely no doubt about it, but the difference would have been considerably less. Right, another jump cut. It's only about 300 metres of road, and I've actually now, because I'm still in the middle of editing the video, I don't do the audio at the end, you know, I just lump things together. I'm not particularly skilled at doing it. I'm about as good a video editor as I am a cyclist, so it gives you the idea. Just have, however, decided not to do any more jump cuts, because the purpose of this video is not really to entertain anybody. And if anyone perhaps thinking of moving to Almaty who's interested in cycling wants to know what it's like riding to Medeo, well, probably they're not listening to the audio anyway. They're just sort of skipping through the video to watch what it's like to ride up. Yeah, recommend. If any of you are actually listening to this, I wonder why. The only feedback I've ever had actually from anyone who watches any of my videos was in fact to make the videos with my voice all the way through. And I said to him, oh, come on, I've got such a boring voice. And he says, no, it's a lot better. And then I had the idea, maybe, and I haven't decided yet, instead of just doing a cycling channel, maybe I can do a learning English channel, learn English on the bike or something like that. And lessons with idioms and things. I don't know, that might be worth it. I might end up with 21 views instead of 18. And actually 18 views is quite good for me. I get quite happy when I get more than 3 views. And I don't know who's watching them, but I know most of the people who subscribe did so out of sympathy and are not watching because of all the people watching, and you're one of them. I think 80% of my views are non-subscribers. And I don't know what people's motives are. I mean, people have done a search for Kazakhstan or something and they've come across my video. Or they're actually, as I said, thinking of moving and want to know what the cycling scene is like. Well, if you are one of those people, then please come. The cycling scene is very good. But if you're on a road bike, you will be pretty limited to about 4 or 5 routes that I can think of. If you're a mountain biker, then you've got, I didn't say hundreds, but dozens and dozens that can be combined as well with some road riding. And into the mountains, you can ride deep into the mountains. I suppose I have some plans to go a little bit further up than Medeo at some point. Trouble is, when I get to the top, I'm usually so happy that the ride or the hill is over that I just want to go back down and roll back home again. We're coming up not too far now from what they call the eco post. And I suppose eco post is clear what that actually means, but for some people who are not sure, the eco post, well, it was removed about coming up 10 years ago now. I'd edit that out, but it's too fiddly. You used to have to pay to get into the national park on this road. Now these days you have to pay to get into the national park, quite rightly, on some other routes, but not this one. And this is just a bus stop, by the way. The eco post is another sort of 300 metres up, and the ex-eco post rather. And I don't know what exactly their reason was for removing it, but it's now free to ride all the way to Medeo. Oh, it's possibly free to ride there before. I don't remember being asked to pay on the bike, but it was going back quite a long time. So it's actually even possible that I started cycling in Almaty after the eco post rules changed. This is about halfway to the end of this particular segment, and well, I have in the past actually got this far and decided to go back, not because I was tired exactly, but because I just planned to get off-road and ride a different way. It's also the point at which a separate route parallel on the right ends, because there are some tracks, some trails which go up, not on the main road, to just before the eco post, and after that you're in sort of private sort of streets and things which they will let cyclists go up, but then there are gates, people who obviously bought the land over the road and don't allow access still. Anyway, eco post should be 30-40 seconds. Right, we're past the old eco post. Now what we're coming up to now is let's say a dam. I'm not sure what it exactly will be called, because a dam is obviously used to create an artificial lake for hydroelectricity in most cases. I don't even know that for a fact. Seems to make sense. If we call this a dam, that's as close as damn it is to swearing. So I probably shouldn't say that word again, in case I offend someone. But this dam without the N at the end is actually, I believe, a mud flow protection for the city. I don't know exactly, okay? I just do believe that this was created to prevent landslides or to mitigate them in some way. Then that may be wrong. If anyone who's watching this knows better, please comment in whatever language you wish what this is. We've just gone under it now, what actually is and what it was built for. I may be wrong or very wrong, but I don't think so. Okay? Anyway, we're now about 2/3 of the way, and I'm not, as you know, a good cyclist, so at this point I start to get tired, not seriously tired, but can't keep the same pace up. So very often I get halfway and I'm still on track to break my record, but when I get to this point, just start to fall apart a little bit, and I can keep going, but 10-15% slower, which means I get to the top and I'm outside my target time, which is 1 hour, and that's not a good time. I know professionals have done it in 22 minutes, but that's what I mean, professionals. Some old guy on a mountain bike like me, an hour would be a respectable time. But I've never actually broken it, except once when I rode to Medeo virtually on the Ruvi platform, and that was without video, which makes it less interesting. But I just wanted to test the accuracy, I suppose, of the online platform, and I quite easily beat 1 hour. Therefore, I would say that the accuracy is slightly less reliable than you'd like to feel when you do online cycling. But I was still happy to beat an hour. So if people ask me now what my best time to Medeo is, then I'll say 55 minutes. When in fact, it's a small editing problem there. I started a sentence, when in fact my real best time is 1 hour, 3 minutes. I was about to say something funny happened there. But never mind. That's got the truth out. Now I've never beaten the hour going to Medeo ever. I would on a racing bike, of course. Not massively, but I'd certainly beat an hour. Probably I'd say 50 minutes, which is okay. It's, again, respectable. And this is one of those deceptive moments. Not the hand over the camera, by the way, but you feel you're nearly up. And oh, I'm nearly up, but you're still like 2 kilometers from the top. It's the hardest 2 kilometers. So much as this is a very welcome stretch, and the roads are really wide, and you've got the nice sort of views that, you know, it opens out, the valley opens out, you've got the river, then you realise, and your legs are tired. Well, I say your legs are tired, my legs are tired. And it's all right. It's kind of like just before that sort of elated sort of second wind you get when you are really nearly up. It's just pre that excited rush stage when your energy picks up because you're nearly there. This is just before that stage when you think, oh my God, I'm nearly there. Oh, I'm not nearly there. You've got the hard part to come. So I actually like riding this part, but this is where it seems to hurt most. Right, well, it's not a shop. It looks like a shop. It's really a bus stop. And there's an area on the right, which we've just gone past, by the way, which is a waterfall. Sorry, a waterfall. There are waterfalls around here. But what I meant to say is a walk. And it takes you up to an area called Kokshai Lao. Anyway, this is where the camera battery icon started flashing at me, which means, obviously, battery power very low. And you can see my hand there trying to sort of mess with it a little bit. I actually stopped here, and what I tried to do was to put the power bank, or connect the camera to the power bank, and then cover, because it's raining, so cover the camera so it didn't get wet, and ride the rest of the way. I unfortunately took 20 minutes to do it and failed. Now, I don't plan to be on this route now for, well, I usually ride to Medeo once a year. I might do, yeah, I might do. But I felt rather than wait till next year for the video, I would just go down and edit the previous Medeo video and add the last mile from that. So this is my first action camera, and this is not my first ride to Medeo, of course. It's okay, it's better than nothing, because like I said, I wanted to get this ride up and improve the quality, because the camera, as you can see now, is considerably inferior to the new one. So this is almost the top now, and you can see from the number of cars going past, as well as the weather, this is clearly on a different day and at a different time. And this is that, when I mentioned previously, this is that kind of 500 meters, I think it is now, where you do start to go faster and faster because you know you're nearly up. I'm nearly there, I've done it. And it's hardly much of an achievement for me to say I've done it, because my ride home from work is really like riding to Medeo twice. So this is not really a stiff challenge for me. I just always end up trying to beat my best time and failing miserably and getting all depressed about it and feeling like some old useless git, and oh, maybe next time. I never do. Well, never mind, it doesn't matter. Most of the people who ride to Medeo are faster than me. But then you go down into Almaty and there are nearly sort of 1.5 million or more people who couldn't ride to the top at all. So I think it's reasonable to compare myself to them rather than the elite riders who can just shoot up in half an hour. Just saw a few moments ago I stopped. I don't remember why. It wasn't tiredness. I just remember I had some issue with the other camera as well. But the other camera, you just plug the power bank into it and it works. The new one, it's supposed to work. Yes, it is supposed to work like that. I suspect the cable I used wasn't really fast enough, and as it was already down to about 1%, then I don't really know what went wrong. Just couldn't get the end of the video made there. Right, well, this area on the right is the bottom, or the foot, I don't know, choose your word, of the cable car. And as there is going across right on cue. And that takes you all the way up to the ski resort called Shimbolak, which I do plan to ride to, at the very least to take the cable car to in the next month, as I've got some time off because being a teacher, and summer is obviously quiet, so I take a break. This year, I usually take a break at New Year, but I've just recently changed jobs, so my break will essentially this year be in July. And I stopped again. Well, I suppose I'd edit it out, but I don't know why I stopped here. I'm sure I wasn't tired. I wasn't at my best, but I don't see why I would have needed to stop. It would either have been for water or to change the track, or the music I was listening to. But almost to the top anyway. You won't see the cable car again, I doubt. But coming up, you'll see the famous Medeo skating rink. Anyway, this is an outdoor skating rink, very famous. If you ever come to Almaty, it's almost essential to go there. Not necessarily to go skating, I suppose. Not everyone likes it, but this is just one of those must-see places. And it's well, again, it's not necessarily just for the skating, the views, just the recreational options, and then the walks into the mountains. I won't be doing the dam ride, the text says today. And that means I won't be going up the hill anymore, but I'm planning to, at some point, to make more videos.